Throughout Ninjago, we have been introduced to many characters. Of course, each season does include its own villain, and of course features the ninja. But what about the less important characters? So I decided, hey, why not make a top 10 about them? Plus, some of you have suggested it. Hey everyone, Hfmasters here, and today I'll be counting down the top 10 side characters. Starting off the list, we have Clouse. Now, I debated on whether or not I should have him or Cryptor at this spot, but I decided to go with him for a few reasons. First off, I think there is more to his character. Clouse does have a much more developed backstory, and he also uses magic, which is something else that is kind of interesting. Another interesting bit with Clouse is there is a chance for him to come back, as the end of Season 6 kinda left it open. Even still though, while Clouse is interesting, there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Along with him not being very well developed, it's just going to keep him a little low on our list. Next up is Ronin. Ronin is very interesting. In Season 5, he's almost like a main character, and one could easily argue that he is. To keep things simple, I'm just going to exclude Season 5. In the following season, Ronin really adapts the role of a side character. He has a very small role in Season 6, capturing the ninja and then helping Jay. After that, he has only had some small brief cameos. Overall, he's a good character, but he's definitely past his prime in Season 5. Karloff is one of the most developed elemental masters and definitely interesting. At first, he's painted as a bad guy, however, as Season 4 progresses, he becomes more and more friendly. His ability to build the Rotojet helps set him apart from the rest of the elemental masters as well. We also do get to see him return in Season 7 with a much smaller role, but more importantly, he shows up again in Season 9, helping save Lloyd and Nia. Sadly though, this is again another character they haven't done much with, and I hope they continue to use him more and more. As much as I would like this character to be number 1, I just can't do it. Next up is Dareth, who is probably one of the most iconic and memeable side characters. He's also shown up in all the seasons except for the first. Dareth also does have some very important moments, one being when he controlled the Stone Army. However, it's very clear that Dareth is not meant to be a serious character. When he is first brought in the show, it is very clear he's just a complete joke character, but for whatever reason they decided to stick with him. He does have some serious moments, but because so much of him is just random nonsense, I'm going to keep him on the lower half of this list. Harumi, just like Ronin, is in an interesting situation where you can argue she's a main character in Season 8. Again, I'm going to exclude Season 8 from my look at her, and really only focus on Season 9. In Season 9, Harumi takes a backseat to Garmadon, not to mention that there's already a limited amount of screen time for the Ninjago realm. Because of this, we see her take a very minor role. It's very clear that she takes orders for Garmadon and has the Sons of Garmadon execute those tasks. Not only that, but her fate also does hinder her from moving higher on this list. Overall, she was an interesting character, but just isn't able to compete with the next few characters. Moving into the top 5, we have Skales. Skales has almost always been a side character. Since he was introduced in Season 1, he took a backseat to Pythor in that season, and ever since Season 2 has only shown on occasion. Of course, this doesn't mean Skales is a bad character. Scales originally was developed as Pythor's second in command, and was shown off very loyal, but as mentioned earlier, did take a backseat to Pythor. In Season 2, Scales did play a somewhat significant role again, becoming the leader of the Serpentine and pushing Garmadon to the Island of Darkness, but overall still took a backseat to Garmadon. Scales also did appear in Season 3 and played a minor role telling the ninja of the Serpentine legends. Lately though, Scales hasn't done much with the exception of a few cameos. Overall, a pretty good side character. Of course, we just have Scales, so it would only make sense to move on to Pythor. Pythor, while a main character in the first season, does move into the side character role from Season 3 and onwards. Pythor does take a henchman role in Season 3, and while he does take a back seat, he still gets a lot of character development. It's also the first time we are introduced to someone stepping down to serve someone else. Of course, Pythor continues to take in the side character role, as in Season 4 he appears once again, and while he has much less screen time, is just as important as he was in Season 3. Of course, Pythor recently has not shown up in any episodes in Ninjago, however, it's still a possibility he could come back to aid or fight against the ninja. Moving into the top 3, we have a contender for one of the more popular characters on this list. Skylor, while loved by the community, isn't the best side character out there. When she was introduced in Season 4, she did play a major role acting as a spy for Chen and switching over to the side of Ninja. She was also offered a spot to become a ninja, but she did decline. After that, she did play a minor role in Season 6, but nothing too significant. But what really helps her is her role in Season 9. Skylor is a very important character in the season. While the first half is a little dull for her, the second half makes things very intense. She's able to take control of Garmadon's power, and it really moves the plot along by creating a very tense situation. However, there is one issue I want to address about Skylor. One of the primary reasons I'm keeping Skylor at number 3 is because I think there's a strong chance she may not show up again, and if she does, she may not take a major role like she did in Season 9. Overall, she's a great character, but there are two that are just better side characters. Moving along, we have Pixel. Pixel is a very interesting character taking many forms, originally just being Pixel, then going inside Zane's head, and then now being Samurai X. Pixel has also been a minor character, but has slowly progressed. When she was first introduced, she did have a small role in the season, and while important, wasn't enough to consider her a main character. Following Season 3, she had even smaller roles, being stuck in Zane's head. However, in the most recent seasons, she has taken the role of Samurai X. This has allowed her to be part of more of the major events, however there are still many situations where she is just missing. Overall, she has the potential to become a main character, but the way they use her, she's just a really good side character. At our number 1 spot, we have Misako. Now Misako may not be a fighter, but she does take a role in about every season. Ever since she was introduced in Season 2, she has been around to help the ninja in almost every season. Of course, being around doesn't mean she's a main character. When she is around, we don't typically see her on the main focus. Normally, she is doing something different. Of course, there have been times where she was important, especially in Season 2, but she's really just progressed into a smaller role. I mean, there are many examples we can name off, a recent one being her hiding Baby Wu, while the rest of the ninja went and fought the Oni Titan. Overall, Misako perfectly fits the role of a side character, and that's why we have her at the top of our list. Of course, I thank you all for watching, and please feel free to leave your own list or top 10 suggestions in the comment section below. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and until next time, this is Hfmasters saying goodbye.